Hello everybody, Crab here, and welcome back to Satisfactory. Last time, we started our beautiful steel production, unlocked Caterium and Quartz for our beautiful zip line and blade runners, completed phase 2 of the space elevator, and started wonderful plastic and rubber production. Now today, we're going to be expanding our lovely coal power plant to produce around 7,500 megawatts, but first, can somebody explain to me why there is an oven in my crafting area? There's 2 ovens in my crafting area. What am I ovening? I don't have an oven in the kitchen, but don't worry, I can heat up my food next to all the raw metals I be crafting. Before that though, we're gonna need Logistics Mark IV because big belts. And we're also gonna need to grab ourselves some Mark II pipes, which means handcrafting some heavy modular frames, which I just realized we can't do, can we? Wait, no, I just don't have them unlocked. Industrial manufacturing. Oh yay, I can make the big manufacturer now. All right, we want to quickly make 100 heavy modular frames, which is mighty annoying. This is a god-awful recipe, but that's okay. I think we'll just place it right there. Nothing could go wrong. All right, never fear. I did my math incorrectly like an intelligent person, but we should make around 200 heavy modular frames. I forgot I was Sommer Sloop multiplying it, so I did the numbers by 10, not by 5. But that's okay. My power grid has shut down. I wonder why. Why would my power grid possibly shut down? Oh, maybe because this thing takes 800 megawatts. Okay. What if we don't overclock it? Oh, that's still 220. This thing's still gonna shut down, isn't it? It's a little close. Luckily, our max consumption is only 50 above our capacity, and we shouldn't reach that 50 mark. A lot of my stuff is offline. Now, of course, the reason we need heavy modular frames, ignore the screws, is because we want Mark II pipelines because we're going to be placing down 102 coal power plants, which is a lot of water, especially early game. Now, our coal power plant is over on the coast right here, so I'm gonna set up a hypertube line from our base to over there, so I don't have to constantly come back for resources using the lovely power lines I have spanning that direction. Oh, look at that ugly line. Oh, it's beautiful. All right, we should have our 50 heavy modular frames. Oh, we don't need pipes. I'm so tempted to build a line all the way to the plastic plant over here, but I'm not gonna, because I'm just gonna delete it like later anyways. My recording software is very rude, but basically we do have Mark II pipelines, which is very nice. Now we're over here at our other coal power plant, which we will be leaving alone for now. Instead, what I want to focus on is where we're gonna put the new one. And that's going to be on this coast right here. Hello, aminos. Imagine you don't hear me. They heard me. I do have to place 102 coal power plants on this coast, and I'm trying to figure out exactly how I want to do it. We have 3 options. The first one is to set up basically a blueprint for each coal power plant and make probably 5 lines into the water and basically make a power plant building. Our second option is to go under the water and make a oil rig looking power plant. And the third, and probably the one I'm gonna try and do, is make an extremely open power plant and try and decorate it using metal pieces to make it look a lot more factory-esque, I guess. How we do that is the big question. All right, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna follow the terrain right here and build a foundation that wraps around it. And then we're gonna have 2 levels. So if you look down here, you'll see that this rock face is significantly higher than the one on the shore. This rock face right here will be for our compact coal. If I haven't explained it already, 42 of our coal power plants will be powered by compact coal. The other 60 will be powered by the other coal nodes in this area. So all the compact coal will be done up here and everything else will be done down here. All right, fun tip for you. If you want to take a foundation and rotate it to, let's say, head that direction, then oftentimes if you want that specific direction, you have this very weird angle you have to deal with, which is just terrible. So what you can do is if you set up your foundations, grab yourself a beam and put it on freeform mode, and then go in the angle you generally want to go. Let's say it's this way. Then your foundation, you can hook to the beam and bring it down, and let's say over, and then you can place it in, and you should have this seamless angle that heads in the exact direction you would like to go. Now, here's the thing about what I just told you is as soon as you extend the foundation, everything goes back to being really wonky. So if I nudge these into place, you'll see we have this weird gap that you can't really deal with. So I'd suggest making this curve once you know the full length of your build, or your first bit. So I now have to redo all this. All right, I think we have our block out. We're gonna have our 12 assemblers up here. I wasn't sure if I wanted them to be on that end of this platform or this end. We have this extremely weird kind of diagonal right here that I don't know what to do with, and I'll probably do nothing with it, but it's there. I'll have to fill it in eventually. And then we have 7 rows of 8 These are all the normal coal power plants, and then the 42 compact coal power plants are going to go on that end once I destroy all that. So something interesting that's happened is since I made my own curve right here, whenever I try and put a blueprint down, let's say I want to build this foundation, right? What you get when you nudge it in place is this really weird gap that's like half a pixel. And so there's absolutely nothing I can do about this like random line. It's just see how it's slightly off. And I don't know why it's doing it. So fair warning, when you're building these kind of turns, you cannot use blueprint foundations and you probably shouldn't use blueprints in general. So that's kind of annoying. I don't know why this has happened and I hope it gets fixed, but all right, we have beautiful foundations down. Now I would like to sort of plan what I want to do underneath these coal power plants. My idea is we're going to do asphalt kind of like this and underneath all of the coal. Oh, I really wish I had half foundations right now. Maybe, actually, hold on. I want to see if I could build like a pathway above all this. Maybe we use coated metal. And then we can have like the water pipes going underneath right here. But I kind of want to slant to it. How could I slant this? Maybe metal beams might work. Hold on. This right here might work. I'm not exactly sure though. I think this might be a little too thick. But this gives me the slant that I wanted. And then we could have the water pipes running underneath this because each line will have its own pipe. And they can kind of like jet out. Yeah, this might work. And then we can walk above and look down at everything. Okay. In between each opening of a coal power plant, the inputs, we're going to have a walkway. And then on the back, we're going to have the power lines. And I kind of want to keep this sort of like a metal design everywhere. I think what we'll do is in front of all the coal power plants, we'll have the caution stuff. We might be able to run it underneath it. Okay, I ran out of cable, but I think this is actually too much. I think we only want the caution in front. Maybe we can have a separator, like a painted beam underneath so we don't see the gap. No, that doesn't look right. What if we painted it black? Or, oh wait, no, I have metal. Unpainted? Ooh, that kind of works. If I use these small metal beams, it won't clip with any of the inputs, so that might work. And we're mainly going to be viewing it from like this angle, not from down below. I'm gonna have to mess around with what I'm going to put in front of these coal power plants, but you generally get what I'm trying to do. We're going to have this nice raised walkway, and then we'll have this bottom area, we'll have the caution, so nobody goes down there. And then we'll have our belts and pipes kind of running. I think we're going to have belts running like alongside right here, and then we'll have the pipe running down here, and we'll go under the ground and then back up to connect the pipe. And I think this will look pretty good. All right, I was putting in all these water pipes, and I was like, yeah, this looks really, really good. And I have this one center pipe, and it's really nice, but you don't really see it. But that's okay, right? And then I counted how many coal generators I had per row. And then I counted the fact that I need 45 water. And I counted how one pipe only holds 600 and I need 720 per each one of these rows. And now I'm like, oh no, what do I do? So we're gonna have to destroy this whole pathway, but I have a thought, right? Well, what if we had the pipes hanging like at this level? Now the problem I'm running into with having them come from above is they will either be clipping really badly and hanging kind of inward, or clipping not that badly and hanging kind of outward. So I don't exactly know like how to fix this. So, oh, actually, does this look all right? Could I do like a slant, or maybe this might just work? Like this doesn't look half bad. Ooh, wait, maybe we could add some. I was gonna try and add like a pillar, but I don't think it'll center. I also just don't think it'll look right. I think this'll work. I think having it come from above will work. I'm gonna try it all the way down. So this does in fact look awesome. The issue is they switched directions because coal power plants, which is I so wish on buildings you could switch which side was each input, so you could have like symmetrical, like make this the water and make this the item input. It'd be so nice. However, this does look very good. I am gonna keep it. I like the water pipes being above, and it just kind of smooths everything and adds a little bit of like, I'm gonna say texture. Like it kind of pops stuff out a little bit more. I like it. So now we have to do it to all the rest. And then also add in the coal lines. All right, it's looking pretty good. All of the walkways are in. I did say this had to be 7.5 rows. So what I've done on the 8th row is just underclock everything by 50%. So everything's still nice and even, but we do have that half row. Now for the pathways, I'm gonna connect them 2 different ways. Number 1, on the back over here, we're gonna have the path go along, and this is how we get up to the 2nd level. And then on the front, I'm gonna have it go down and basically have it kind of treat as the front waterway path. So this will not go up to the top. It'll just stay down here, but it'll mean I can design some cool stuff below here that the path can sit on. Now, all of my belt inputs are up front. There's a reason for that. It looks cooler. That's about it. The water is going to be coming from up front because here's the water. And speaking of water, we do need to figure out where to put that. So we have two options. One is in front right here, and the other one is underneath down here. I'm tempted to do underneath and leave this, not like this open, but leave it kind of like a window so we can see all the water extractors, which I think will look really, really cool. Because if we have like, I think we're going to need like 50 water extractors or whatever sitting down here in lines, and then we kind of have it covered with a nice window, and then we can walk in and kind of be underneath everything. I feel like I want to do a little bit of an interior down here. So having water extractors in an interior will be fun to build, but also water extractors are such a cool looking thing, and having it out front might look awesome. Like really quick concept, but if we have it kind of like being an island per a line. So each one of these kind of sections takes 720 water. So if we had 720 water sitting out there and then we bring it like below the pathway and then up, it might look pretty cool, especially since we're gonna have 4 of these because we have 4 walkways. That might actually be nice. And I can make, wait, hold on. Okay, never mind. This would look really cool. We're gonna have all the water extractors actually out in front of each because I wanna have, I think I'm actually gonna make this go down a little bit more towards water level. So then we don't have to have this up ramp. This will just go straight and then the pipes will be like down here. And I think it'll look really cool. Maybe we'll even get rid of the metal and just have them floating. Ooh, okay, yeah, we're putting the water extractors out here. I want to mess with this. Okay, yeah, this looks really nice. Like, look at it. It looks like its own little island. And then we can have like 4 of them. I might have to change these placements because as soon as I get this walkway out, yeah, like that's probably going to be a little too close, but I like the idea of what we got going here. So I'm going to adjust this a bit and then put them in, and then I'll also get the walkways in. Oh, would you look at that? It's just beautiful. So we got all the other water extractors in. What I ended up having to do is instead of having a water extractor at the end, I put one in the middle, and this middle one is overclocked by double. So that's how I could fit all however many I have here. Now, something you might notice is these railings are a little off, like 0.05 of a meter. And the reason for that is that little gap problem happened with the blueprints again. And there's zero way for me to fix this without not using blueprints. And funnily enough, this walkway is actually on the right grid. What isn't on the right grid is the entire rest of this. So this small little problem has basically made it so everything you see here is off grid by like 0.5 of a meter, and I'm not gonna bother fixing it. Moving on, we have a little bit of a walkway right here. This is just a big metal pillar, and these are just inverted ramps, just so it adds a little bit of depth to this front end. And I wanted to show like some kind of support every once in a while. I'm thinking of changing these ramps to stairs. I think they'll just look better. Like this seems better to me than a ramp. Yeah, I'm gonna change these all to stairs, but I have all the pathways on the back end too. So this is now raised and is going where it's supposed to go. I also added this concrete like support structure or foundation, I guess. And then right here, we have this big flat area. And the reason for that is there's a big old puddle right here that I wanted to cover up. And so my thought process is we'll use this area to merge our belts, because what we have is we have like 600 coal over there from 2 nodes, I think. And then I need to bring another 300 from over there and split that 300 in between these 2 boxes. And then these 2 containers will go towards each of the rows. So using this flat space for literally anything at all, I was like, I'll just put my belt work right here before it goes off towards the machines. Now I am gonna have to switch around all of these inputs because right now the belts are asking to come from the front. So I can either switch around all these splitters and make them come from the back this way, or I can have the belts go above it. So something like this, and we can kind of see the coal better. We could also go underground, but I don't really want to. There's not like a lot of room down here. Another option would be having the lines come above these power lines and then drop down like right here. And then they could go around and in and have them kind of come from up there and back and down and around. So I'll have to mess with how I'm going to do the coal inputs, but that'll be something for later. Now this area looks absolutely awesome. And while I did originally want to have this raised to follow the land structure over there, I have a new idea. I'm going to lower this whole platform to be as the same level as these coal power plants or generators, whatever. And then what we're going to do is I'm going to have kind of like a barrier that's kind of holding up these rocks in the back. So I'll build like a wall, and I think it'll look pretty cool. And I have a cool idea. I want to try and curve it using concrete pillars, because if you don't know, you can actually make curved walls that like kind of do this and curve around using concrete pillars. It's extremely annoying to do, but you can do it. And so I want to mess with it and see if I can. But generally, this height difference will no longer be here. I think this just looks much better on the ground. And I also don't know what I would do for this big wall. It just won't look right having a massive concrete wall sitting here while we have this all on the ocean level. Okay, I think this works. What I've done is just hooked up the coal belts. I'm gonna turn this part of the coal power plant on before doing that part, because that's all compact coal. This is all normal coal. And I'm gonna have to destroy the coal power plant that's right there to do this part. So I gotta turn this part on, which means we gotta do a little bit of belt work, which is what I did. I did in fact bring a belt over the power lines, and I split it evenly. So what I used to have was all of my half clocked coal power plants were on that end. Now half of them are half underclocked and the other half are normal. And then this side has half underclocked and half normal. So I just have to redo the water a little bit. But what it means is I can evenly split these belts because we have 8 rows. So one section of 4 is one belt, the other section of 4 is another belt. And it just makes everything a little bit easier to deal with. I still need to hook up this side, but on this side over here, you can see what I did. I basically just brought it over the walkway and down and towards the bins right here. It is going to be kind of weird. We got a coal node over there that we have to bring over this way to merge into here to bring coal that way. Whatever. The more belts, the better, as we say. But they do just go straight over the power lines, which is probably not very safe, but who cares? Speaking of power lines, something I forgot to show earlier is this beautiful tripping hazard right here. Do not worry, this is intentional. I didn't want to put it under the floor, so instead we just got tripping hazards. I love building factories that just blatantly don't care about OSHA. Granted, we're on an alien planet with weapons, so it doesn't matter. I'm gonna hook up this other belt right here and then bring those 2 cold nodes over. Basically, what I'm gonna do for the cold nodes is foundation over to them, and then I made a little pillar, and then we'll delete the foundation and make the pillar go into ground to make it look like the belts are basically just coming on dirt instead of being a big old chunky foundation, because I don't like big old chunky foundations, so it should look pretty good. And then for the coal node over there, I'm going to set up the belt, but I'm not actually gonna hook it up to these power plants. I'm gonna turn them on and get some coal going before I steal the coal node that's keeping that power plant on, because, you know, we don't want a power crash right now. It'd be so annoying to deal with. Now, funnily enough, we're only consuming a solid 1,300, and our capacity is 1,700. And if we head yonder, our max consumption is 430 here. This is before overclocking the miners, which I forgot to do. By the way, the miners are in. They look pretty. Like, I like the belt work. The new curved mode is awesome. New. I'm fairly certain it's like 4 months old at this point, but new to me. Like, this is so nice. I love curved mode. But yeah, these each are producing 150 coal. There's like no coal over here at all. So I do think what I'm going to do is go fully overclock these 2 miners, put a bunch of coal into a storage container, and then have the storage container run this power plant while I then take these 2 miners to start running that one. All right, I got the belt that's bringing the coal from over there over. Right now I have this temporary line because this line will eventually extend that way and around towards where the compact coal will be. But for now, we just run it through the middle of that rock right there. It's fine. I think this looks pretty good. I like the fact it's raised, and then also I like how this coal underneath comes up and then over. It's like it goes that way, and then this coal comes this way, and I think it's good. I don't know if it's a little too high. It might be, but I mean, it feels fine. But whatever, right now I just have them going into these storage containers. I still have the other ones over there going into the other storage containers, but like they're all overclocked, so I have more coal than I need right now, so I might as well split it and start filling up these. And in a wee few minutes, we will eventually turn this on. All right, I used my brain for once. I unhooked all of the water generators from the main system here, and then hooked these coal generators up to the main power grid, allowing coal to then be put into them. So now I'm gonna overflow every single coal generator with coal before I turn on the water. So then we don't have any shortage of coal, because that's always my biggest issue, is just coal takes forever to build up. And once all these coal gens are filled with coal, then we will slowly turn on one section of water generators at a time, so then we don't overflow our system. Because right now, I think we have 300 megawatts from our main grid that I can use. So I'll turn this one on until these coal generators turn on, and once these are all on, then I'll turn that system on, so forth, down and down until everything's running. So we hook up the first set of water, which is this right here, and that should turn on all these coal power plants. All right, this row has started to turn on, which is very nice. I forgot I had to put water pumps in. Now, I know I did unlock the Mark II water pumps. The thing is, I like the pumpy pumps right here. I really do, and I only need about 10 meters of lift, so we don't need the Mark II pumps. So I'm gonna use the Mark I ones, because, like, they pump. It just looks cool. But now we're gonna go down the line and do the rest, because all you guys have to turn on, which will be oh so fun. Now, of course, it'll take a gazillion years for these water pipes to fill up, because this is the underclock section, but the ones that aren't underclocked are all looking nice and full, and right now we're producing a measly 6,000 power. So, like, 4,200 from all this, I think. Something around that, which should be enough to destroy that power plant so we can move all this down, so then we can build the whole compact coal section. So now for this to go down, and look at that, it's all nice and flat. And yeah, this was definitely a good decision bringing it down. Now, the very first thing I want to do is probably the assemblers. They're gonna take up like this chunk right here, I think, this general area. And I have a funky little idea for them. I want to raise them up on some frame foundations. And since they are wider than a full foundation, I'm wondering if I can use some of the inverted ramp frame foundations. Maybe not, actually. We might not need to. This might work, but this might also be too tall, so these might have to go in the ground a little bit. Let's see. If we put it in the ground, like, let's say here. The thing is, okay, I'm leaving in between each assembler. We're gonna have a foundation and a half. So if I have an assembler here, right, we're gonna go one full foundation, a half foundation, and this will be where our second assembler is. I'm thinking if we make each assembler platform a foundation and a half, that'll give us, I think this gap right here is good. So if we have the assembler sitting on this wide of a foundation, and then we can like decorate it a little bit, and we have this gap in between each one for some space in between them. Then I just have to design what the assembler sits on and whatnot. It is gonna be raised definitely, but I think we're gonna be only a half foundation or maybe 3/4 of a foundation out of the ground, and this will count as a half or 3/4. So I'm gonna mess around and try and build something nice. So I've been trying to come up with something that'll work to raise the assemblers, and then I started using my brain. Right now, what I'm doing is basically what I have for the pathways, and I feel like having the assemblers sit on metal and the pathways being on metal and the pathways being raised just won't work quite right. So instead, I'm thinking we lower them into the ground. We have probably 3/4 of a foundation right here where we can lower assemblers into, and then we can even still have our raised platform that's sitting, what is it? I think 3/4 of a foundation up, right? So we can look down and see everything working while still being raised off the ground. And I think this will work better. So instead of decorating what the assembler sit on, we'll just have our normal pathways. And then I think what I'm gonna do is have the foundations the assemblers sit on be lovely, lovely asphalt. And then I want to bring some concrete into this build. That general area is all asphalt and metal. I would like this side to have a bit more concrete. We're going to have the concrete retaining wall back there, and I'd like to bring it into the build itself. So I'm going to have the walls / floor stay concrete, and then have the assembler flooring be this asphalt, and then have our walkways be the gripped metal, because I think it just looks really nice. And we should have a nice contrast between the light, the dark, and the shiny. So while this does look cool, and I do like it, since the raised pathways exist, I feel like this is kind of redundant. I don't need the metal, I already have it. And I feel like this will be more interesting, especially since we'll have lowered assemblers with the lovely raised, not necessarily raised, but the tall coal generators right next to them. I think it'll look kind of cool, add some levels. And this was indeed a much better idea. Look at it, it's so nice. And now we have to do one more row, which we'll put back here, and then we'll do the compact coal power plants. Oh, they look so nice. Look at them. They're beautiful. They're both there. And I also started planning out these coal power plants. These will be switched around. We'll actually have the back here, and then we'll kind of move stuff around a little bit. But generally, this is the layout. We're gonna have 4 rows of 10, and then 2 of these will be overclocked, or maybe these 4 will be overclocked by like 50%. I need 42 total machines, so. Now, I don't know if it'll look a little weird because these are rows of 8, while these are rows of 10. Actually, hold on. These are rows of 10. If I took 2 off of the back, that would be 2, 4, 6, 8. I could add a 5th row. If I added a 5th row, they'd be rows of 8, so they'd match. The reason I'm doing rows of 10 is because this platform is bigger. Like, as you can see, these are rows of 10, but we still have 3 full foundations at the end here, whereas this foundation isn't as wide. So I don't know, I'll mess around with it. It really just depends on how I do my retaining wall back here, which I do need to put in, which I think I'm gonna work on next. We'll find out. Never fear, my brain is huge. We have this lovely curve right here. And if you're wondering how you make this, it's by painstakingly hating your life. Basically, you find your center point, whatever that may be. You put down your beam connector, and then you freeform, and you go out however many meters you want to go. You default first. I went out 8. You place your beam, put your concrete pillar on the end. Then when you have that, I'll just delete this real quick to show you. You get yourself a diagonal. You go up like that. And if you just did that, it would look kind of off. You see how it sticks out too much? So what you have to do is get a beam connector, put it on the end, then you put the concrete pillar on. Delete these two, and then you make your whole curves. You can make these as big as you want or as small as you want, but now we have a curve, and that's gonna be our retaining wall back there. So now I gotta figure out how to make it look nice and not like bland and terrible. Actually, should I make this middle part painted or like a metal? I could do copper. Wait, that looks so funny. Wait a minute. No way. It like kind of fits though. I'm gonna mess around with this, but we're gonna do something. Okay, it definitely looks cool, but I think this is too much. I wonder if I should do like just like the factory tan. I know it's kind of hard to tell because of where the sun is, but like that looks better than the copper. But I definitely like the idea. Actually, I wonder if I should keep the center ones as straight concrete. Yeah, that looks good. So we'll keep the center ones as straight concrete, and then we'll have these bigger parts be the factory color, the factory orange. It kind of like blends in with the background and keeps it like sandy-esque. And then we'll bring everything down and then also connect it to the terrain behind it, which will be a little difficult on this part because of how wide the gap is. But honestly, I'm just gonna kind of just bring everything across until it hits the rock and just leave it be. When in doubt, make it bigger, and that's what I did, and look at it, it's so nice. I'm so glad I did this. Oh, this curve is awesome. So this side is a lot bigger because of the water, where this side is very small, like the curve wide. I wanted it all to be this, but this doesn't look half bad. So, be fair, I still need to do this wall right here, but like, whatever, we'll put just concrete there. It doesn't really matter. What we're gonna do now is the coal power plants. I'd like to get them all the way in so then I can start putting my pathways in. And I still need to figure out what to do with this like weird triangle. I'm not sure, and I don't want to leave it just like flat and open. Something I could do is like those 2 extra generators that I need. Instead of overclocking, I could put them in here. But I don't think it would look right. See, now the area's coming together. We have the coal power plants in. The wall isn't so noticeable. It's not as big because we got these nice stacks in the way. It's beautiful. This flat area doesn't look so flat and plain and boring. Oh, I'm loving this. I just remembered we have to bring the water extractors out too, which will be interesting because they'll only be like at the end here. They won't be in this general area, which is fine. It just might make things look a little weird, but it should be okay. As is the usual, I got in the groove of things. We have all of our water extractors in. They look beautiful. All the pathways are in, and some belts. So I figured out what this big kind of triangle is going to be used for. It's for the balancing that's happening. So right now we have our sulfur belt, which I brought the sulfur node over, brought it down, and it comes into this storage bin right here, and then it goes out and into the compact coal area. These two, on the other hand, are a little bit different. This industrial storage container is for about, well, I guess a full 480 belt. 300 of it is going in towards the compact coal, and the rest is going off to be balanced over there. And then this is 300 coal. Both coal nodes are up there. It's what was powering the other coal power plant. This 300 coal is going around and about and towards the balancer over there. So this sort of mess right here is our belts ins and out, and we're about to add even more belts because we need to bring the 2 coal belts over and add them to this mess and then put them in so then they can go back around. But it looks pretty good. I did extend this a little bit because we needed to bring the coal over, and I did add a balancer up here. While this balancer isn't doing really anything right now, what it will do is take that 300 belt and that like 180 belt, balance it out so it's evenly put into both of these storage containers, mixed with the 150, I guess the 300 total, and then brought over and put into these coal generators all evenly. But I'm gonna plug the coal in and turn this all on and see if everything works, and make sure my math is correct, because to be fair, it could be wrong. And I need to know that now rather than later. All right, everything is up and running. All of these should be producing basically maximum power, which looks to be about 7,100-ish. I got all the belt working. It looks super nice. And I also put a new power line in, which I kind of want to show you because it's interesting. See, the thing is, I don't like how wobbly power towers get. So if you want to hate your life and make your power towers look nice, you can keep them all on the same grid by just like shoving a foundation out that way as far as you want it to go. And now we have a very, very straight power tower line that goes all the way to the power plant. But the aerial view from up here, this place just looks awesome. I like the orange. I gotta say, I was thinking about changing to white because in my last playthrough, I made everything white. But like the orange, especially in the desert, it just looks so good. So I do hope you enjoyed this video. At this point, it's tradition. We must kill an animal at the end of every video. So yeah, I do hope you enjoyed this video. We made a beautiful coal power plant, and I will see you all next time when we start dealing with the choo-choo trains. Coal power plants go brrr. Goodbye.